How's it going, guys? Just to introduce myself, my name is Dennis, and I just wanted to talk about my journey of working out. So, the first time when I started working out, I was super pumped. I had just watched this motivational video on my phone. There's music blaring in the background, people working out super hard in the gym, and just seeing quotes like, for instance, you don't stop when you're tired, you only stop when you're done. And I felt so unstoppable for 2 weeks, and then I skipped one day and I skipped two, and just like that, I went back to square one. So the real question is, what happened? So today I want to talk about the difference between discipline and motivation and how knowing the difference can really help you stick with your goals. So if you think that you've already mastered motivation, then I want you to go back to a time where you started something and then randomly just decided to quit. If you barely think about these concepts, just know that discipline and motivation impact and affect everything in life, from school to work to health to relationships. They shape your life whether you're aware of it or not. Personally, I have spent years trying to understand why I can never stay consistent, but through books such as Atomic Habits or resources from the CWI library database, I have finally started to figure out why. So, in this speech, I'll explain where discipline and motivation come from, how long they actually last for, and how they each affect your success. So, you might ask, where does motivation come from? Motivation usually comes from outside of us. It's either from a video, a speech, a song, or even seeing someone else succeed. It's emotional and it makes us feel good in that specific moment. But that's also what makes it critical because it's just a temporary feeling. On the other hand, discipline is the opposite. It comes from within. It's not emotional, it's actually behavioral. It's a decision that you make over and over again, whether you feel like it or not. Motivation is built through repetition, through structure, and through habits. Motivation is also often tied to external rewards, while discipline is tied to eternal identity, who you believe who you are. So they come from different places, but how long do they last? Motivation usually fades away fast. It's like a spark. It might light the fire, but it doesn't keep it burning. It dies out whether you're tired, bored, or when you hit that first obstacle. According to one Health Journal article from CWI, it also shows that motivation spikes up when you set a goal, but after 2 weeks, it significantly drops. Discipline lasts. It's not about how you feel, it's about what you've decided. A disciplined person shows up even when it's inconvenient. You do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. So now you know, motivation is temporary and discipline is long term, but how do they actually help you? Motivation is like the ignition. It gets you moving. It gives you that initial push to sign up for that gym, to start that new project, or even text that person back. It's useful, but it's not reliable. Discipline is the engine that keeps you going when motivation disappears. Another journal from the CWI library found that people who combined motivation with constant and consistent discipline had the highest success rate in achieving their goals, whether that was losing body weight or starting that business or graduating college. A great example of people who carried the same trait could be Kobe Bryant or Gary Vaynerchuk, who kept consistently with their daily routines and they never relied on hype, but they relied on discipline. So now that you understand how these work, I want to leave you with this. We talked about where motivation comes from. Motivation comes from emotion, discipline comes from identity. How long do they last? Motivation fades pretty fast, but discipline stays strong. And how do they help? Motivation could start the race, but discipline finishes it. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to be consistent. Maybe it's studying for an extra 30 minutes a day. Maybe it's hitting the gym when you're tired. Maybe it's waking up without hitting the snooze button. The small stuff adds up, and that's how you change your life. So, at the end of the day, I ask myself this question, and maybe you can ask yourself as well. If you want to stop repeating the same cycle of starting and quitting, then stop chasing short term motivation and start building discipline. Start small and create a system and stick to it, even when you don't feel like it. Think about the life that you want and ask yourself, is it really worth putting it on hold every time your feelings change? Every day you wait for motivation and you delay your future. But when you act on it with discipline, when you're uncomfortable, that's when the real changes happen. So, your life will always stay the same if you keep falling and waiting for the game of motivation. Also, one quote that really stuck to me is that discipline equals freedom. What that really means to me is that the more disciplined that you are, the more free that you become later. the more freedom that you have to live the life that you want, and not the one that's dictated by your moods or emotion. So, thank you so much for everyone who has watched, and I hope you guys have an amazing day. Thank you.